Get connected, Fitchburg. We're launching Fitchburg Connect, the city's new monthly e-newsletter that keeps you informed about all the events, services, and updates that matter to you. Get it in your inbox once a month. Our first edition is live now. Sign up today to get Fitchburg Connect.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Crosby.
And I'm Nick Boucher. We're your hosts for the program that's all about your city, Talking Fitchburg.
Every weekday, we pull together the news, events, and information you need to stay on top of what's happening in the city of Fitchburg.
Find Talking Fitchburg on cable TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and our live stream on the web. Plus, you can find all our headlines and stories on Facebook, YouTube, and our video on demand service. This is your city.
Keep up with Talking Fitchburg and the issues affecting you and your neighbors.
In the Finance Committee on March 10th, 2026 at 5:33 p.m. First item of business is the approval of minutes. I'll need a motion on the draft minutes of the Finance Committee on February 24, 2026.
I move approval.
Motion approved by Alder Jetzer. Comments or questions? All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to item 3, public appearances for non-agenda items. We have nobody in chambers or online for non-agenda items. So we will move on to item 4, Finance Director Report. Misty.
Thank you. So big news, of course, is the auditors are here this week. So it was a lot of closing up the books and making sure everything was accurate and documented well up until last week. And then this week they're here double checking everything. So far it's going really well. The timing is interesting. We also learned that our 2024 annual comprehensive financial report, our annual audit report for 2024, was awarded the Certificate of Achievement. Again, this is our 10th year that we've gotten that award. And then it's spring break. So next meeting I won't be here. Chad and then Robert will be here to cover for me. So if you have questions for me, reach out in advance, please. That's it.
Well, congratulations on 10 years of the award.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
That's outstanding. Other questions for Misty? All right, we can move on to item 5, review of bills. First is a detailed review of all checks issued, checks 130234 to 130305 from February 16 to 28, 2026, totaling $716,501.99. Comments or questions? Bill?
Yeah, so I noticed check 130251 for elevator maintenance contract. I'm assuming there's elevators in City Hall and the Senior Center / Community Center. Is the library on a separate contract? And then how does the new PD facility fit in? Is that going to be on next year's contract or is it also on this year's?
So this particular check is just for the library's elevator. So there would be other contracts for the other buildings. And we did include operating costs for the new facility. So I would expect that the elevator cost would be included in the budget for that building.
Okay.
Moving on to item 5B, detailed review of all ACH payments from February 1 to 28, 2026, totaling $758,857.26. Comments or questions? We can move on to our action items. First up, I'll need a motion on Resolution R3026, approving the 2026 to 2028 Stormwater Utility Vegetation Management Program contract.
I'll move approval.
Motion approved by Alder Latisse. Who would like to go? Oh, Tim, our Public Works Director. The floor is yours.
Thank you. The City of Fitchburg Stormwater Utility maintains stormwater facilities throughout the city, many of which are planted with native vegetation. After the native vegetation has been established, long-term vegetation management is necessary to prevent invasive species takeover. City of Fitchburg Stormwater Utility desires to retain a qualified ecological services contractor to perform weeding, herbicide applications, mowing, woody brush removal, and prescribed burning from 2026 through 2028. The request for proposal was advertised by legal notice in the Wisconsin State Journal and posted on questcdn.com. On November 21st, 2025 at 1 p.m., one sealed response to the RFP was received and publicly open. Heartland Ecological Group is a qualified contractor who was selected based on the criteria outlined in the RFP. Looking for council to approve award of the 2026-2028 Stormwater Utility Vegetation Management Program contract to Heartland Ecological Group in the amount of $261,000, which is over the 3 years.
Thanks, Tim. Comments or questions from the committee? Did this RCC approve this last night, Bill?
Yes.
Wonderful.
I guess I'll just point out there is a spreadsheet of all the sites in there, and you can see what the maintenance is for each one.
It's great that we invest in natural and native plants for our stormwater facilities. It's better for stormwater, and it's more beautiful, and it's more ecologically friendly. So, win-win-win. All in favor of Resolution R3026, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. We can move on to the next item. I'll need a motion on Resolution R3126, approving 2026 to 2028 Burn Pond Vegetation Management Contract.
I move approval.
Motion approved by Alder Jetzer. Tim?
Burn Pond was reconstructed and restored with native vegetation in 2020. City of Fitchburg contracted with Field and Stream Restorations LLC through 2024 for the establishment and management of native vegetation. Establishment was successful, however, pockets of invasive species appeared in 2025 while there were no ongoing vegetation management activities. Field and Stream Ecological has provided a cost-competitive proposal to continue vegetation management services from 2026 through 2028. So we're looking for council to approve the award of the 2026 through 2028 Burn Pond Vegetation Management Contract to Field and Stream Ecological in an amount not to exceed $12,953.75.
Comments or questions from the committee? Bill?
I'll just note this is basically 3 years worth of maintenance plus one prescribed burn. So it's, $3,000 and change for each year plus another $3,000 for the burn.
And RCC did approve this last night?
Yes,
Wonderful.
as did Public Works, both of these.
Micah?
Is there a reason this wasn't just included in the contract we just did prior to this? Like why this is a separate contract?
Yeah, so the previous contract was with Heartland, and they were the only vendor that submitted on the RFP. The reason we went with Field and Stream is they've been handling, since that pond was reconstructed in 2020, Field and Stream has been handling that pond, so they have the knowledge of that pond and kind of the issues we've had out there. Therefore, we wanted to continue using them for the next 3 years.
Okay, sounds good.
Seeing no other discussion, we can vote. All in favor of Resolution R3126, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. We can move on to our next item. I'll need a motion on Resolution R4726, amending the 2026 fee schedule relating to pickleball court fees.
I'll move approval.
Motion approved by Alder Ladisay. We've got a couple of citizen registration forms. The first is from Steve Streck, registering in support with a comment: if we don't bring our pickleball court reservation fees in line with other municipalities, we will bring in less money this year than in the last few years. And then the other form, in chambers, we got Aaron Shetler, who would like to speak. Please come forward. You've got 3 minutes to speak in support of the above matter.
So I just wanted to say that we, MPACT, and my husband and I are strong supporters of the courts and volunteer and want to make them a premier facility for the area. But with this current fee structure, we will become the most expensive indoor or outdoor facility in the Dane County area. When we learned of the fee structure, which wasn't until February of this year, we immediately started reaching out to the city and saying, this is a problem. To be that much more, by 30%, to be more expensive than any other court, and to have fees in excess of what the indoor courts are charging. So we believe that this will result in a significant loss of revenue for the city. CAPA, in conversations with them, said they can no longer afford to run leagues or skills and drills in our facility because everyone else is 30% less, and they pass on those charges to the membership. So it is unlikely that they would come back to McGaw this year. That could result in a loss of revenue of about $4,500. We also know that tournaments are at great risk. That was one of the things that every committee has said, please bring tournaments to the courts and let's utilize them in that capacity. We ran one tournament last year for Yahara House, which provides mental health services for people in need in the Dane County area. We ran that tournament at a cost of about $480 for a very limited amount of time at $10 an hour for the courts. When they heard the fee structure this year, they said, we cannot come back to McGaw. And I see that as a great loss for our community because the fees would be in excess of $1,000 for them, and they're a nonprofit. And they're just trying to raise money for services for people. The other organization that had reached out to us to run a tournament is the UW Initiative to End Alzheimer's, another really worthy cause to run a tournament for. And again, they said, we simply can't afford you guys at that fee structure. And so again, we reached out and said, these are at risk of being canceled or lost to the city. And once they don't come here, they won't come back. They'll go to the facility that they eventually go to hold their tournament in. We believe that McGaw is a draw for these tournaments because of the reputation that MPACT has of running quality events in a quality facility. And I hate to see those lost. But again, that would be a loss at the current fee structure of about $2,500. So nothing gained, it's all losses. I think the city needs to look at the courts in terms of return on investment is just one facet of how the courts benefit the city. Both of those tournaments bring in people from the region to come and support the events, to support CAPA, and whatever, and it brings positive publicity to the city. Both of the tournaments are going to be media-heavy events through the UW and then also Yahara House. They plan on running ads and having news stories. That would all bring positive publicity to the city and generate revenue for businesses as people go out to eat or maybe look at housing as a result of having a positive experience in Fitchburg. We know that there was concern raised by the city about changing the fee structure after it had already passed. We have always spoken about the availability to consult with the city on any issue. We know what the other fees are, and we talked about those with a variety of people in the city, and then Eric went back and gave you a chart that confirms every bit of what we said. We hope that provides a rationale that there was not information presented to this council or to the city to support keeping the fee structure as it was and be comparable to what the other facilities are. We want to continue to work with the city. We are volunteers. We're residents. We have no skin in this game. All we want to do is promote pickleball courts, and we need your support to do that. So a revised fee schedule will allow us to move forward with a great tournament, which is ready to be publicized for the UW, and we'd like to get these things moving and keep them in Fitchburg at McGaw. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Erin. Can I get a staff report next? Eric.
So this was proposed from MPAC, and Julia Radafrada requested staff reestablish the 2025 fee schedule, reverting from the current 2026 of $15 per hour for resident costs and $30 per hour for non-resident, back to the 2025 costs, which are $10 per hour for residents and $15 per hour for non-residents, as well as the establish of a flat rate fee for tournament costs, which would be $500 for residents and $600 for non-residents. That tournament fee schedule model was mirrored off of Sun Prairie, based off the successes that they have had to hopefully make tournaments a little bit more accessible for people who are requesting them.
Thank you. Any comments from the committee? Bill?
Yeah, so the tournament fee, does tournament always imply all 12 courts, or would we have an option of saying you can have a tournament on fewer than that, and would we still have the same flat rate?
It would be the same flat rate. The tournament fee cost is for all 12 courts at McGaw. If the tournament organizers choose to use less courts, that would be their discretion, but they would be charged that full rate, so it doesn't discriminate versus amount of courts used. It's for the entire facility.
Other questions? Okay. All right. We can take it to a vote. All in favor of Resolution R 4726, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thanks for coming. Next up, I'll need a motion on Resolution R 5126, approving EV station site host agreement for Charge Up Dane County Grant Program.
I move approval.
Motion approved by Alder Jetzer. Who's going to tackle this one?
I've got this one.
All right.
The Dane County has grant funding to provide EV chargers to businesses, civic organizations, and local governments. The city applied to place 4 EV chargers in McKee Farms Park. That was approved by Dane County, and this, what you have before us, is an agreement that would accept the terms of the placement of those EV chargers in McKee Farms Park. A couple of the highlights from the agreement is the infrastructure, both the improvements and the chargers themselves are coming at no cost to the city, and that also includes 5 years of operating and maintenance expenses as well. We can elect to keep the equipment after 5 years and continue to operate it, or the city, if it feels it doesn't meet the needs of the city or is not economically feasible, we're not obligated to continue to operate it. We are able to charge fees to use the equipment that are in line with the cost to provide the electricity for the vehicle. So we're not, don't believe we're able to actually make any money off of it, but at least we can at least recover any costs associated with electricity as well as the taxes. So that's what I've got on that particular item.
Questions in the committee? Mike.
I think you mentioned at the last council meeting this is one of 4 sites. Is that correct that we applied for? Are there additional sites that are coming in the future, or am I misremembering something? There was like a couple apartment buildings.
Those would have been applied for by the property owners if those were apartment buildings. I believe, if my recollection is okay, that this was the only site that we offered as far as from the local government perspective, any sites that the city owned.
Okay.
Looks like go ahead.
Phil Groupie will be a common counsel who applied for that, so he may be able to provide the most accurate information on that question if you want to offer it.
Perfect.
As well.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check with them.
It's a great central location, and obviously I think it'll be well used. People will enjoy the park while they're charging up, which is great. Seeing nothing else, we can vote. All in favor of Resolution R 5126, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Moving on, I'll need a motion on Resolution R 5526, approving a memorandum of understanding between the City and Wisconsin Professional Police Association on the establishment of a 28-day work period. Motion approved by Alder Lattice. Who's covering this one?
I can take this one.
Thanks, Chair.
You may be aware that under federal tax legislation recently approved, certain overtime and tips, which aren't necessarily covered by this, may be exempted from income tax. And one of the requirements for that is, there's a number of requirements that have to be met by the tax filer in order for that overtime to potentially qualify as being exempt or free from income tax. But one of the things that the city needed to do in order to potentially allow for that with its police officers is to establish a Fair Labor Standards Act work period. So we have a similar work period with our fire department in its contract or collective bargaining agreement. We did not have that with our police union. So we contacted the police union and agreed that a 28-day work period makes the most sense, and drafted an MOU to reflect that. So that's what you have before us. It doesn't change any sort of compensation for police officers or police union members, nor does it change when overtime is earned in accordance with the current collective bargaining agreement. All this MOU does is simply establish the 28-day work period.
Questions from the committee? Bill?
Do we have a similar work period for EMS?
I don't know. I'd have to double check their contract. Do you know, Misty?
I can answer that one. So EMS, police and fire in particular are carved out in FLISA, the Federal Fair Labor Standards Act. EMS is not. So they are the general 40-hour, 7-day work period, from what I understand.
Okay. And then does this affect the way that people need to file their taxes? Or, well, I guess, it's going to, because they have to compute that number. But does this affect their future Social Security earnings because these wages are exempt from taxes?
I'll take this one. So we have put out advice to our employees that it would be best for them to consult a professional tax advisor on any questions that they have, because there is not any employer guidance that's been released on this. So we are doing our best based upon Misty's professional association that she's a member of, and a few other sources, in order to provide the information that we have been able to provide. But again, there are a number of considerations that folks have to be able to demonstrate to even qualify, or to have some of their overtime qualify for this exemption. It's fairly complicated from my perspective, so we've just been encouraging people to reach out to a tax advisor for those sorts of questions.
Micah.
I can say they are Social Security wages for the purpose of that. So the deduction happens after. We can have a tax law conversation after this. I can nerd out with you. That is one question I have around that. Just do we, and you might not know this, are we then, when we report what hours are overtime, like on their W-2, is it the hours that we pay them overtime now, or is it the hours that they work in excess of the hours in the 28-day work period? And I'm kidding.
So as Chad mentioned, the employer guidance is not out yet. So we don't know exactly how that will look for 2026. My understanding of the information that's available currently is that it's only the overtime or comp time that is earned over the number of hours in that period. So it's a relatively complicated formula because it has to be FLISA eligible overtime. In general, we pay more overtime than what is required under FLISA.
Right. Okay.
All right, seeing nothing else, we can vote. All in favor of Resolution R5526, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Next, I'll need a motion on Resolution R6226, approving budget amendment for 2025 capital budget overage for parks improvements, and this is a direct referral.
I move approval.
Motion approved by Alder Jetzer. Eric, you have the floor.
So this is a budget amendment for overages that were incurred with the Southdale Park replacement project for the playground in 2025. $115,000 was initially approved for that playground replacement, and that covered the entirety of the contracted costs for that playground replacement. However, we accrued additional expenses for city staff materials for that playground replacement. This included base course installation, landscape renovations, etc. That totaled nearly $9,000. So this budget amendment is for the covering of that additional expenses within that project. This would be Town of Madison receive funds as well.
Thanks, Eric. Questions from the committee? Seeing none, we can take it to a vote. All in favor of Resolution R6226, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thanks, Eric. Next, I'll need a motion on Resolution R6626, amending the 2025 general fund budget for DaneCom costs, and this is a direct referral.
I'll move to approve.
Motion approved by Alder Lettice. And who's going to cover this? Scott, our fire chief?
Yes, this is, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so this is the cost for the second half of 2025, typically received in the first 60 days of the next year. We had a little problem with delivery of the invoice, so that's why it's a direct referral. But it's $10,359 again for the operational cost for the DANCOM communication systems that we utilize.
And for those of us, for the public, what can you just explain what the DANCOM system is?
DANCOM is just our communication center, our 911 dispatch center.
Outstanding. Questions from the committee? Seeing none, all in favor of resolution R6626, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thanks, Scott. We are at the end of our action items. We'll move on to item 7, announcements. Our next finance meeting is March 24, 2026, in 2 weeks. And I will take a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Motion by Alder Jetzer. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We are adjourned at 5:57 p.m. Thank you.